it going? I am making this video now today in response mostly to a sale that happened in Oshawa, and the Bank of Canada also this week in end of October 2021 announced that they are holding tight with their interest rate, and they're also stopping printing money. So I'm going to touch on all three of those in this video. But I posted, we had a sale of a Legal 2 unit in Oshawa for $1,005,000 that has kind of shook the whole landscape of Oshawa, and all the investor realtors, all the investors that I know have been messaging me, talking to me about this. And I want to talk a little bit what's significant about that, why this is so, not shocking, but going to change the landscape of the real estate market. And if you had been watching our podcasts, you would have known that Simon and I on that podcast predicted this to happen next year. But wow, it's happened very quick. So I first want to break down, a couple of the messages I got were, hey, how could someone buy that? What's the justification in that? And so, I think what's happened, or why me and Simon could see that this was coming, was because of rental rates. So right now, a Legal 2 unit, three up, 2 down, can rent for a total combined $4,100 a month. So $4,100 a month plus utilities. So that's what the income is. Now, if we look at expenses on that $1 million purchase, your mortgage payment on that would be $3,275. That's a 1.6% interest rates. Yes, they're that low. 25-year AM and 20% down. So $3,275. You add in your property taxes of $450 a month, and insurance of $100 a month to give you a total of $3,825. So again, remember I said the rental that you're bringing in is $4,100. So even on that $1 million purchase, that property will still cash flow $275. Now, you know that I normally take into account property management, a maintenance fee, and a vacancy rate to buffer that. We're not taking that into account because that's what I do, but that's not what most investors do. Remember that there's Toronto investors coming from the condo market where they negative cash flow. They lose $100 a month and they're okay with coming out to Durham Region going, wow, I can cash flow $200 a month, sign me up. So that's why you're seeing those prices the way they are. Is that enough cash flow for me? I don't like it, but when I explain it to people, they go, oh wow, okay, that makes sense. Why, they're purchasing that price, and why I don't think that's going to change the pricing anytime soon unless rental rates come down. That break-even point, not much higher, about $1,050,000 is kind of where these properties can support the rental rates. If rental rates keep going up, values will continue to rise with it. People chase cash flow. They chase yield, but more importantly, cash flow. So how is this going to have effect on the rest of the market in Oshawa? Now everyone's going to look at Legal 2 units, and they work backwards when they do a BRRRR property, right? So they go, okay, $1 million is what the ARV is now, the after repair value. If I go back and say, wow, I'm now going to buy a fixer-upper bungalow, instead of $700,000, which is kind of the prices we are seeing, they're now going to pay $800,000. They're going to put in $100,000 to legalize it, so they're in for $9,000. And now the property's worth $1 million. They're going to make $100,000. You'll see people having no problem paying $800,000 for bungalows that are, grandma's bungalows that need a ton of work. And then what that's going to do is then everyone else is going to say, well, hey, that's, a bungalow that needs work, not necessarily realizing that it had the potential to be a Legal 2 unit, or it was going to be converted to a Legal 2 unit. So they're going to start saying, well, my property's better than that one, so it's worth more. So you can see that all of that, because of that sale, that's going to drive up the grandma's bungalows prices, which is going to drive up every other house that's going to say, hey, listen, that house was 1,000 square foot bungalow, mine's 1,500. It should be worth X amount more. So that's why that $1 million sale is so significant and is going to rattle things and change the landscape. That's the local perspective. Interest rates now, everyone's getting a little bit freaked out about the fact that the Bank of Canada said they didn't increase them, they held them. But they said now, June of 2022, is that they're gonna start increasing interest rates. Remember that the overnight lending rate right now is 0.25. There's really nowhere for them to go. And then the prime rate is 2.45. So typically right now on a mortgage, you get, 2.45 is the prime rate, and you're negative 1.3 or 1.13, which would give you around 1.3 to 1.6% of a variable rate mortgage. So they're going to increase that. They're talking about a quarter of a point is typically what they would increase it, right? Meaning that going from 1.3 is going to bring you up to 1.6, 1.6 is going to bring you up to 1.9. Again, even if they increase rates 2 times next year, that's not going to have an effect on the market. That's not enough of an interest rate increase to take away the cash flow of these properties. So why I'm telling you that is because I think there's going to be a huge surge up until June of 2022. I think prices are going to keep climbing. They're going to keep going up, and then, because again, especially people are going to lock in some of these rates and want to take advantage of that, want to take advantage of the cheap money. And so they're going to go take that money and buy a house, buy a property, and not care. They're going to look at the monthly spend, not necessarily thinking, wow, I'm putting myself this far into debt. The fact that the Bank of Canada stopped printing money is a great thing, but I think the damage is done. I think the fact that they've been printing trillions of dollars this past year and a half is why we're seeing inflation spike so dramatically. Everyone hears about, everyone knows about it now. We were talking about this a year and a half and how this is going to have a big effect on assets, i.e. housing. And we're seeing that now with house prices. So I think, all things considered from a local perspective and from a national outlook, the party's not stopping yet. I think the bubble is not ready to be burst. Scotiabank is predicting 8 interest rate increase over the next 2 years. Again, we'll see. They're talking that and saying that probably because they're seeing what's going on. And remember, what they say and what they do is a lot different. All right, they still held the rates. They're still not ready to increase them. Remember who is in the most amount of debt in this country? Yes, the government. The government is the one now in $1 trillion worth of debt. So if they increase those interest rates, it's hurting them as well, right? Hence why they are hesitant to raise these rates on us. So borrowing money is, that is covered by rental is still considered an advantage and something that I think you should take advantage of. But keeping in mind, again, the $1 million bungalow, I'm still digesting it. It's still a little bit shocking to me that we're in this reality right now, and it's scary. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on some of the recent or new legal 2-unit sales that come out in the next couple months here. But I suspect that's going to be the new norm. I think we've had a massive jump here, and this has gone from 9 to 1 million in the blink of an eye in a week. All right, this hasn't been like a slow climb. So I sold a legal 2-unit last about a month ago, so 3 weeks ago, for $840, right? And that was considered, not a great deal for the investor. It's looking like a phenomenal deal now, but even my seller was thrilled, right? Saying, wow, we had it on the market at $825 and couldn't sell it. So the market has popped and is going to continue to rise as we kind of predicted. But hope that gives you a little bit of insight into why it's happening and what's happening. And if you have any questions, shoot me a message and happy to chat about it.